This is a series of films that tells the history of contemporary fashion photography as seen through the eyes of models. When you're modelling, are you aware of the picture that's being taken? You're aware a great picture is being taken. Can you tell? Do you feel it? So obviously you can't see yourself.
No, I never thought it in those terms.
Right.
I kind of just most of the time did it as a job.
And are you aware of the photographer's vision? So can you see yourself within this set? Can you see how your dress is, how your body looks?
I'm very aware of my body,
right,
and the shape of it, and I'm always, I think, quite helpful with like the dress and keeping an eye on how things are positioned. I don't have necessarily an image in my mind of how the whole. I think I kind of just always took for granted that I trusted the photographers I was working with, and probably just took it for granted that I was taking part in this image, and I didn't think about it in terms of, oh, this is going to be an amazing image from an objective perspective.
So that's the first picture I'd like to talk to you about.
I like that picture.
Which is one of Tim's.
I remember this one.
Good.
It's a good start.
Tell me a little bit about that picture. We see you in this picture, so our view, the view of you is well known, but what's the view from your point of view from this?
It was in this amazing palace in Gujarat in India that had been hit by an earthquake 4 years previous, and so the whole top floor of the palace looked like it kind of was like a dollhouse that had been shaken up and then just left for 4 years. It almost looked like a Disney film set. There was the downstairs that they'd remodeled the whole space, and then upstairs they'd run out of money, and so you went up the stairs and suddenly there was a layer of dust, and all the rooms just literally still had cupboards that had fallen over. They hadn't put up yet.
Some of the other pictures in this series look like that. They're a huge room, everything kind of topsy-turvy.
It's extraordinary, and it was my first. I kind of fell in love with India and went back a lot after this trip, but it was my first time in India. It was a 10-day shoot for Vogue, which, as you know, is quite a long time nowadays for shoots. But I was always the model who my agents knew as like the one very keen to go to weird places for long periods of time. And Tim's a big traveller, so he took us to these extraordinary places. And this was in one of the corridors in the palace.
Are you being strongly directed?
I'm trying to remember Tim. Tim directs, but not a lot. Quite gentle, but there's definitely a feeling of like teamwork,
Right.
We work together quite a lot, and you're trying to get what they need.
Yeah. And how long have you been up the staircase?
How long was I up there?
Yeah. Is this a kind of
probably a while. Probably. That's the other motivation in trying to get the picture they want, is just like, okay, come on, let's get this done. It's hot and I'm tired.
From my side of things, it's always like, where is this picture I'm trying to get done? So you're always trying to, I always feel it's like a journey. You start off with kind of where you think you want to go, and then you try and find your way to there.
Yeah, but that's where it's different, I guess, because it's like returns to, I guess, what I was saying at the beginning, but I feel there's a limitation in what models can bring. That's not to belittle it, but creatively, all I can do is think about my body and my body language and my face and what I'm trying to communicate, and try my best to help you get what you need.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's you who take it's your vision of what you're creating. Another Tim.
Tell me a little bit about that session. So what are you looking at there?
I don't actually remember shooting it. I think it was in a house, and we did quite a lot of shoots in this house in Northumberland. I think it's quite likely it was there. But I'd often, with Tim, wear these crazy outfits that a lot of the time actually were just quite uncomfortable. Right. And so a lot of the time I loved working with Tim, and I still adore him. And I love the surreality. I'd often find myself in this situation like this where I'm like, oh, there's giant butterflies and a giant watering can.
Or giant fish.
And I kind of really, I can remember particular moments of just really appreciating how surreal my life was, and that if I wasn't modelling, I would never be in that environment where I'd see those specific things. Yeah. So I did appreciate that. At the same time, I often, I got quite bored of it too, and so I often was just like trying to get the pictures done as quickly as possible.
And in that situation, how much you left just own devices. I kind of know the answer just from working in any case. But are you there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, without anybody else getting involved with you, or is it a permanent? I mean, for a lot of my shoots, it's a permanent sort of, you know, people are going in and out, and I just finding the moments between hairdresser, makeup artist, stylist.
It depends. It always changed depending on who the team were.
Right.
I used to find it really annoying if there was a particularly picky hairdresser or stylist or makeup artist who would keep insisting on coming back into the. So you get that sometimes. They'd keep coming to the shop every 10 seconds. Hopefully, most of the time, they kind of did what they needed to, stepped away, and then let you and the photographer just get the picture you needed.
I mean, how long to get that photograph?
Tim, sometimes he's slower than others. Probably, I'd say an hour, 45 minutes. I don't know.
Okay. And during that hour,
It's so hard to measure. You know, you kind of lose track.
No.
But it's interesting my body shape there, because I obviously was playing a role. Like there's this almost like a role play in that, like body language.
Yeah.
You know, I can imagine playing that like I wouldn't say a character, but just slightly. There's like a character there in a way.
And is Tim reassuring you that you look good, that's how what you're doing is working?
Yeah, so I listen
for
to their
right.
usually encouragement, and then if you're not getting that, then you just try and change it so you get it. Yes, that's great, stay there.